Hello everybody and welcome back to another VOD review. Today we have an extremely special guest. We have our manager from Penn State Overwatch, Maradon, if you want to introduce yourself formally.
Hey, what's up? I wouldn't call myself special, but I'm Maradon, playing Overwatch since open beta in Overwatch 1. Very off and on though, so currently Diamond 5. I feel like I suck at Overwatch and I want some help, so I employed the help of Mr. Paz over here to give me a hand.
Yeah, and if anyone ever feels like they want to be involved in the path to pro, but they might not feel like they're GM1, God tier top 500 supports, and you want to start managing a team, if you're looking for avenues to learn maybe more about how to do that, Maradon is your guy, and just reach out to me in Discord and I can get that done for you. But before we do start the VOD review, yes, I'm using a different microphone. I'm at home for spring break. I didn't feel like bringing home my whole audio setup, so if it sounds bad, that's why. But hopefully it doesn't sound terrible because I'm just using the old stuff I used like a year ago. So with that all out of the way, we're looking at Kiriko today. We're looking at Diamond 5 support gameplay. You also said you played a little bit of Lucio, I think you said. So we'll also cover
on the
that.
second and third map.
Okay, so we'll cover some of the Lucio stuff as well. Hopefully I can bring it all together. But it's Kiriko. So with Kiriko, the big thing is just like you're kind of like a Moira. In terms of the value that you're outputting, you're essentially just, more utility, single target healing. And the big thing that we want to look at is Suzu. So without further adu, let's start walking into this. Also, yeah, the bitrate's probably going to be really low, so this might look poopy too. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. The homies understand. But yeah, whenever you have a question, just butt in. But let's get right into this. Your comp's actually pretty good, considering you have a Lucio, a Sojourn Tracer. This is actually not a bad comp at all. So let's just see how this stuff goes. Okay, yep. Not use. Okay, so why did we use Suzu here?
I use it to cleanse the anti-honor.
And why might I have a problem with that?
We have everyone kind of in the general area, so the Orisa's probably not gonna die. And she's,
look how much health she has. She's full of health. She's not scared at all. She's got Fortify. She's got her E. The big thing when you're playing Kiriko against an Ana is to not waste Suzu and to not use Suzu when their nades are just bad, because it's you want to make it harder for them, not harder for your team. And that's probably going to be something that we continue to make mistakes on. So I just wanted to point that out early. But let's keep going here. Okay. Because if we had Suzu now, life's just a whole lot easier. Especially right here when your Orisa's low. Yeah, that was a good Suzu right there because she was probably gonna die. But having Suzu earlier in that fight probably makes this not so close. Oddly enough. Okay. Nothing too out of the ordinary. All right, so we won the fight. Typically here, I'd be looking to play forward to get some ult charge, just poking every now and then. But this is not. That's a pretty high level mistake. And again, if you have questions, let me know. All right, we're just poking. Yep. Don't have to use Suzu. Yep, that's a good sleep dart. Okay, yep, looking too bad. Yep. Okay, that right there, you just didn't need to use Suzu, but that's higher level. The big thing with Suzu is you have to understand if they're really in danger and if you could just heal them through their damage they're taking.
I think it was more of a panic. That was definitely a panic. Yeah, like, oh gosh, yeah. She's like literally one.
I mean, that one was like a pretty high level mistake, but the earlier one on the Orisa was different. Yep, okay. See, because then in moments like this, it would be really nice to have that Suzu, even though I didn't necessarily need it. Just having it faster.
Looking down on the ground.
Yes.
Trying to throw it. I was like,
I could tell. Okay. Dude says he can't aim and just hits a Symmetra like that. Overall, this is pretty decent. The Suzus are like the main thing I'm seeing right now, and just not poking between fights, especially on like King of the Hill. Like you can just poke here the whole time, try to look for something. All right. Yep. Yep, it's decent. Okay, that's just I mean, more playtime you can Suzu that, or to be honest, whenever your team is antied in the back line, you don't necessarily need to look at them. You kind of have this tendency of not looking at what's going on in the front line, because like nothing's gonna follow up on them. They don't. If they had like a Genji or a Tracer, I could understand maybe you want to look behind, but they have things that aren't really gonna close the distance on an anti that's just getting yucked. You know what I'm saying? It's different when they have maybe a Pharah or they have like an Ashe or something that's got an angle on them, but they don't really have that ever. So by looking so far back that whole time, we missed the opportunity to be like, oh, they're TPing on me, maybe I should reposition backwards or go really hard in with my Orisa, and maybe we could have avoided this pin. You kind of have a weird tendency to just like hyperfixate on, oh, there's an anti, if they die it's my fault and they'll flame me. That's like the support mindset that you gotta get out of. Yeah, because if people flame you, whatever, you're Maradon gaming. But yeah, here still I'd be poking just to get some ult charge if you're gonna be up this far. Yeah. Now that the fight's actually happening, you playing for heals is totally fine. That's good. Yep. We don't use Suzu yet. That's good. Weird TP, but it's like your first mistake on it, so not that big a deal.
Yeah, I was trying to go up a little bit further, and I think I ended up just attaching to somebody else, but I probably still didn't need it.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't focus on stuff like that. Right now, it's just Suzu and poking in between fights. And recognizing where the fight is going. Okay, yep. Just poking right now is fine if she's not taking all that much damage. Now I'm on more heal. Yep, this is fine. We know that the Rhine has Shatter, so you're playing well around cover-ish. Okay, yep, that's a good Suzu, I think. I guess it wasn't needed because she did have the E, but realistically they should be walking on her there, so I'm okay with that. She said now they have Shatter, and you have to make sure you're looking out for that. So the big thing is like also think about how Suzu's going to interact with ultimates they might have. So if they have like a Nano Shatter, maybe we want to try to not get like a forced Suzu. That situation was a little difficult, but even then it's like if they have Shatter, our positioning needs to be variable according to that too. Like we have to make sure we're playing around cover somehow. But overall it didn't hurt you necessarily, so you still won the round.
Yeah, we ended up winning the fight. Yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah.
So what I'm gonna say with Kiriko, the big thing, focus on Suzu, not using it when you don't have to. It wasn't terrible, it was actually pretty good. Not using it when you don't have to, and also making sure you know where the fight's going. And poking beforehand will help you with that, because you'll see where they're walking, and then you'll, not focus on things you don't have to. If you're poking for ultimate, you don't have it yet, that'll generally help you with both of those things. We'll talk about that again at the end, but let's look into Lucio. Because this is a very hard character to be playing in ranked. Honestly, I probably would have just stuck with the Kiriko, but...
Yeah, the reason why I did it is just because I felt like... I know I usually see us run Lucio on Control Center. I feel like he's really strong on here.
If you want to run Brawl, yeah, he's very good, but go on.
I gotta say that I'm not used to... I feel like, and this might just be Diamond Brain, but I feel like he plays a lot different than he did in Overwatch 1.
That's pretty true.
Because
it's different.
Don't feel as confident on him as I did when I played in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, and honestly...
And I think it's because of like one less tank and maybe the DPS being more powerful. I don't know if that's what it is, but...
Yeah. It's the one less tank, everyone's taking more poke, so being on heal amp more is actually pretty beneficial. But the other thing is like, he's not really hard meta in this composition, especially like your DPS need time to really build something. So Lucio's very variable depending on who he has with him. So realistically, I'd be holding amp until my sim is level 3 beam, and then I'm speeding my sim in to try to get something to happen is essentially what I'm looking for. And that'll help guide you. It's probably not something you were thinking about when you were actually playing, but nonetheless, here we are. Let's just look at how we played this though. Yeah, your team didn't take the TP. That's just a bad start.
Yeah, none of us did. I realized it when I was out. I was like,
yeah.
well, I already boosted, so I'm going.
Keeping it right here. We're just poking. That's fine. We have Amp. Now we have a Hanzo. So honestly, Kiriko is probably better right now because there's nothing that you really need to speed with. I mean, Orisa with Lucio is fine to maybe carry with that, but this is just a weird comp to be playing Lucio, and I personally would rather be playing Zen or Kiri because I think it's easier to do more in ladder. In team play, I think this is fine. So we forced out ammo. That's good. The moment we see someone low, I'd be speeding on. Honestly, I'd be speeding on this. Yeah, Baptiste right away. Seems like your team does not want to do that. So that's unlucky, I guess.
Yeah, I saw him alone. That was kind of my thing too. I'm like, okay, he's alone. Let's go. And then they just kind of either died in the back or Orisa went down the step.
That's why, like, in moments like these, it's like even I'd honestly just pick up the Kyrie again. I think it'd be a much easier time for your team. But now, yep, we're on speed amp and we're gonna amp it. Actually, no, you don't even need amp it. That was a really good play because you already closed the distance. That was very smart. Amping after, yeah, that was actually really good. That was very good amp.
I was trying to amp to kind of help the cleanup.
No, that was good. We already had the distance closed, so we didn't really need it. Speed amp in. Maybe we could have heal amped. The fact that your whole team died, that's not really on you. I guess you could have beat it. You could have looked for heal amp there, but.
Oh, wait till you see this beat. I immediately regretted it.
All right. It's like a Darman video.
Yeah.
Bully used beat, immediately regretted it. Okay, yep, she's crit, but you're not forcing anything crazy here. Oh, unlucky. Now you know he has shatter. You should be playing on the wall. Is essentially like understanding what else they have. It'll help you on support, or just like spitballing in your head where they might be at. Especially against Ryan, you don't really ever want to be on the ground. Does that make sense? Why? Okay, so why are we regretting the speed? Oh well, honestly, I don't think that beat was all that bad.
Save the Orisa.
I would have just done it sooner, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that's a bad beat because then you could speed your team in and kill that Ryan. That completely wins the fight for you. It just was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
So
I don't think she was in voice.
Yeah.
She just went balls to the wall to ult, and then I was just like, well, I'm gonna beat to try to save her, and she died before the beat went off.
Overall, it just seems like your Lucio would be very good in a team environment, but in ladder, it's like you're not playing a really ladder Lucio, which is more like redditing and going on the flank and stuff, which I don't think you need to adopt. I think you should just play different characters. I don't think you need to really change. Amping here, I don't think is necessary. I think you should just like, honestly, when you're losing fights and it's in between, you should just be speeding your team back and trying to get everyone together. But that's not really how they're playing. So again, I think a big thing is just realizing when you playing as a team is really not going to help you, and playing something that could carry harder. Because I feel like that's something you particularly struggle with. At least when I hear you when you're playing solo queue in VC, it's like I can tell that you're playing the game correctly, but sometimes playing the game correctly in ladder is just not the way you should be playing the game. Like, you will lose playing the game correctly.
For sure. Okay.
It's variable. You know, everyone, there will always be those people that are just terrible. And sometimes you have to compensate. Yeah, right here, like, my team's already in there. I'd be speeding in with my Orisa and trying to help her out. Maybe looping people back into that, which is exactly what you did. Like, realistically, you're very good. Like, you should probably be at least masters. It's just like, I feel like you're playing a little bit too smart sometimes. And then you miss like some of the really small things that'll mean a lot. Like right now, that guy has shatter. Maybe we shouldn't be playing on the ground. Maybe we should be playing like on this pillar and like trying to wall ride back and forth. Like I know you're capable of getting that into your gameplay. It's just something to think about. Luckily enough, he didn't shatter you. But yeah, that kind of positioning stuff's gonna hurt. And your Ana is really struggling to heal your team. Like she's kind of fallen behind a little bit. So picking up that initiative and going Kiriko here would probably help your team out a lot. But we're watching Lucio gameplay, damn it. So let me see. So here, if we have a sim, this is when I'd want to amp immediately out of spawn to try to get her to TP on point faster. And now we have a little bit of a faster composition. Still, the same thing is like if you want to speed amp in, you're really just looking for her to get level 3 beam and then go hard off of that. But you didn't have a sim last time. You had a Hanzo, so it just wasn't.
We had a sim for the TP out of spawn. And
yeah, and no one took it. So on this map, I feel like it's increasingly common for people to use this TP strat. So something that you can do is, if you get up here and TP first, you can just like linger on this wall. The moment they TP up, you can boop them off, and then you give your team free point advantage with all these turrets. It actually does a lot for your team. Just something to look out for. That's map specific. But we killed the BAP. Yep. Okay, now I'm just speed amping my team to clean up. Cool. That's very smart player.
Again,
weird to me that you're Diamond 5, but maybe you just don't play enough. I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah, it's probably exactly what it is, to be completely honest with you.
My mental turns to crap real quick.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. Okay, here you're just a little bit too far out. Like, you want to make sure if your team doesn't want to engage out here that you're not playing out here, because now you're a very easy target if they were actually decent at the game. You probably will die here, actually. No, you don't. See, that's just scary to me. I would much rather you be playing in like this gardens area and playing taxi back and forth through your team instead of just going like hard hinting.
I definitely did get away.
Better teams will definitely roll you there. I'm okay with the DPS dueling here just to keep them off your team. But your team's not very stacked together, which is a little weird. And this is one of those moments where maybe we're looking a little bit too hard at what's going on over here instead of making sure we're staying in the know of what's going on here. Because honestly, now at this point, now that they're pushing in, I'd much rather you take the 1v1 against like a Zen or a BAP, kill their backline, compared to, oh, I'm just kind of looking at these people. Because your DPS might be more suited for that. And the fact that we were so focused on this kind of let them walk in for free, which shouldn't really have happened, but... You know, the thing is, in ladder, sometimes you're not playing against enemies, sometimes you're playing against your own teammates, and it's just finding how to finding out how to enable them the best. Like, and I'm being dead serious there. And if anyone takes this away, that takes away anything from this VOD, sometimes that's just how it be. But it was a positioning and like attention problem of what was the most important thing there. But now you're going to be back really quick. Maybe you can kill the BAP. Yep. Oh, that was a few no regs there. I was unlucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an attention deficit problem, whatever. Okay, now you have a Reaper and a Junk. And a Kiriko. Oh, you're on Kiriko now, so that's weird. Okay, for me, like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, now I have a Reaper. Now my Lucio's gonna get something done. But now you're like, nah, I'm done with this. I'm going Kiriko. So this curious. Yeah.
I kind of felt the value die like a little late of me being on Lucio, and also at the same time, like, if we're not going to continue using Symmetra to like do any sort of TP strat, like I kind of feel like he isn't useless. I mean, like you said, like we switched Reaper, so like the Lucio in the Lucio would still be viable in a sense.
I think Lucio would work better in this if you really wanted to play Lucio, but I'm gonna be real with you. I think Lucio is the hardest support to climb on when he's not like hard meta. Because you have to be like either mechanically cracked or hope that your team actually uses the speed boost efficiently. I don't know. I think he's very much. I think he's one of the harder ones to climb on. I also am like, I'm not the best Lucio player. I mean, I can play Lucio to a GM1 level probably, but I don't know. I think it's so much easier. It's so much easier to get more carry value on flex support than main support and ladder, at least, especially at lower ranks. So honestly, this Kiri switch might be fine. But switching gears back to Kiri, we're looking at when are we Suzuing, where's the fight going, and just poking for more value. That's a good start. TPing to Reaper, I guess it's okay. Honestly, you didn't need to force out TP there. You probably could have just walked. But I'm not gonna hard flame on that regard. Okay, we know they have Shatter though, so maybe keeping Suzu for that is important. I'm not in love with this positioning from your team, especially since we have a pick. We should just walk in. All right, yep, cool. We're walking. Yeah, that's a good sleep. But tracking that ultimate 100%. Like, shatter is something you should always keep in mind, and make sure you're preemptively going to Suzu that. Because if you're going to be right next to that Reinhardt, you know he's going to try to shatter you. You can honestly even just look at the fucking ground if you really wanted to. And just Suzu when he's doing that, because then it just completely negates everything. I think that the basic mechanics of things you have down. I mean, you've been watching us scrim at Penn State for a very long time. So you probably have a basic understanding of most characters down. But there's some things that, like, thinking ahead, that would probably help you a little bit. So now we know they have Blade. Saving Suzu for Blade is a thing to look out for. You don't necessarily have to save it. If there's a good situation, use Suzu to keep someone alive. Like, definitely use it there. But it's what I'm trying to say. It's even more important that you don't waste Suzu in these types of fights and position better. But your team's playing Mystery Heroes. It seems very panicked.
Yes.
Take a deep breath.
I remember when we were doing this here, I was just like, I got on the mic, I was like, yo guys, we're really split. We had like 2 guys on the right, we had our switch for Matra. But thankfully this is Diamond. And yeah. So
right here, whenever you hear your Ana, I mean, I know you can't hear the Ana, but the Ana's like screaming, help me. If you don't know where that Genji is, it's always helpful just to look back and help your Ana. Because that is kind of your job. I mean, to be fair, she should have been stacked with you guys, but something to look out for. If you're on a, if you hear a Genji using shurikens and you don't hear it on you and you hear your other support crying for help, just make sure you take a look back, because maybe that's a Suzu opportunity. Even if here's the thing, even if it's not necessarily your fault that they're dying, because they should be in a better spot. Like I said, sometimes you're not playing against the enemy team, sometimes you're playing against your own teammates. So something to think about when you're in ladder. And team play, you don't really have to worry about that. That was a rough Suzu. Again, a panic Suzu. The more you play, the better you'll get about just like taking a deep breath. You'll be fine, just chilling out. It's a very important thing to be doing with Overwatch. And I know that you can struggle with that sometimes, but that'll also help you mentally with all these things. But all right, let's keep looking at this. There's a minute left in the VOD. It seems like you guys will win this. You have a lot of ultimates. Let's see how we use them. Overall, really short VOD though. Yeah, the TPing here is fine. And then looking to Suzu that's totally okay to invest that. Then you not winning right away, honestly, I think the Kiriko ult was fine. I think the fact that you're on a nanode was a little rough, but eh. Okay, now we're walking in with our team. Yep, this is good. Bitter May's getting a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Just looking at her like, you know, what are we doing here? Again, so we hear the Genji and scouting him out immediately, making sure we know what's going on. Don't have to necessarily act on it, but just know what's happening is always helpful. It's a good wall. Yep, rotating with the team here. Yeah, this is a one fight. This is just GG's. The frame rate just like capped itself at 60 there because so many ultimates are being used.
Yeah, I can't handle it.
Honestly, overall, it was a very close game. You played pretty well. I think you could do more, I guess, in terms of just like not making as many simple mistakes. Flashbang, yeah. But let's do some takeaways here. I want to start with Kiriko, and honestly, Lucio, I would just, unless you're playing like a hard brawl comp with like a Reaper, maybe like a Reaper Sim or like a Reaper Cassidy, Reaper May, Reaper, what's another? Unless you have those characters, I would probably steer away from playing Lucio, because at least in lower ranks, when you're not like queuing with someone, I feel like it's just more difficult than it needs to be. Just run Kiri or run Ana. Typically when we're all stacking together, I still prefer you to just run Ana when we don't know who the other support is, because then I can actually like make things happen. Sometimes, again, it's playing against your team, not necessarily playing against the enemy team. That's what this game looked like. It just looked like you really should win this game pretty easily. But okay, with all of that out of the way though, let's talk about some takeaways. The first thing I would say is probably just Suzu and making sure that we're not wasting that, and also just like thinking in general about any ults that are coming up. And this kind of goes for both characters, but I'm specifically stating this for Kiriko just because I want you to take the most away from the Kiriko. Making sure that if they have Shatter, we are maybe holding Suzu, or making sure that that might be something we're allocating it towards. The same thing goes for Lucio in terms of just playing on walls and stuff to make sure that we're not getting shattered. Or you understand what I'm getting at here, I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Making sure that we're not wasting Suzu when we don't have to, and then taking it a step further and maybe looking for when we could use that Suzu aggressively or use it to counter an ultimate. Something just to think about. Is this what I usually? Oh no, I like it being a little thinner now.
Like a thick with 2 C's.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, it's probably better to use the thick font. But so the number 2 would be, I guess, poking for ultimate between fights, not going too far. But the poking, I'm more so prescribing this, if that's the word to use here, so that we're helping ourselves be more aware of where the fight is actually going and what we should be listening for, and not tunnel visioning on one thing. So if I poke, I'm gonna know where they're walking. If I don't see that the Genji is playing with them and he's trying to trail off, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to go after my support. I can support my support then, or help my support. If I see that they're all stacking together and they're trying to TP to point, okay, my support isn't really that much danger then probably. I need to make sure that I'm not in danger and I'm gonna get pinned on or something like that. And that'll help you. Being more aware will also help you with your Suzu usage, and this stuff, it works together.
I have kind of a stupid question.
What's up?
So when you're talking about like a Genji walking on Ana, can Genjis deflect Suzu? I assume it would.
I think it can.
It can. Okay, I don't think I've ever seen that, but
it's pretty hard to do because usually the Suzu is getting thrown on the ground. But
I figure since it's a projectile, it would still get reflected. I just feel like I don't see that too much.
Because the Kiriko guide's coming out this week, and I'm pretty sure I wrote that and I said that. I hope I did. I hope I did. Because I'm pretty sure it deflects, but it's so niche because you shouldn't be throwing the Suzu up into the air, into the stratosphere. You should always be throwing it down.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So that is something to look out for. Just keep in mind, keep it away from the deflect. And then the last thing I would say, honestly, your aim wasn't that bad, but Vaxta always helps if you're really looking to improve. Honestly, I don't think you need to do that much. Just making sure you're warm before you play. Honestly, this isn't even the thing. Just find ways to just stay chill. And just let yourself play the game. You have to go into it knowing that you were a good player and that you will be fine. I think that'll help you, because I have the idea that maybe you have ranked anxiety like other people do, but maybe to a higher degree. If someone flames you, it doesn't really matter. You're better than a diamond player. I would say you're at least masters with what I saw today. So take that with you and don't let yourself get overwhelmed by it. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think you nailed it right on the head. Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of struggled with alt and ability usage. Like I usually either like do it too soon in areas where I don't need to do it, or I'm too late on it. So like the Suzu kind of definitely checks out with that. Where it's like I just have to get into the groove of knowing when the right time to use it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think what will help, and my parting words with this, understand that you have the basic cooldowns down. You're not really making a whole lot of mistakes. You're making a lot of high level decisions. Chill out. Understand that you're gonna be fine, and then focus on the things that maybe you're missing, and just think. Allow yourself to think more. I think if you chill out, you play your game, you're gonna climb and be just fine. I think you understand how to think through these things. You maybe are just freaking out a little bit too much in ranked, and it's like, well, we're gonna lose a game. Well, dang it. No, you'll get there. You'll get there. Just chill out, focus on what you want to focus on, and you'll get there. Just go into ladder with the idea of I will be fine. I will make the right decisions, and then you'll help yourself to maybe not be too early or too late, because you won't be in your head so much. You'll just be playing the game. But with that all the way, if you've watched some random white dude on the internet speak to a screen for about half an hour and you're not subscribed yet, consider subscribing. I don't know, maybe it would be good. Also, check out the Patreon too. If more VODs or something you're interested in, also some scrim codes that I upload of myself playing. It's a lot of what the VOD reviews are, just more of those. If you want to see more people, just stuff that I don't record specifically for YouTube, check that out. I think Maradon actually watches that, so, or it has that Patreon. I'm not quite sure.
Yes, can confirm it's definitely worth it.
I mean, it seems like
on there too.
I mean, it seems like it's worth it if the dude's already gotten all the basic stuff down. It doesn't really seem like there's a lot of high-level stuff or low-level stuff I had to go over. So I don't know, maybe that's something that interests you. But if you want your own VOD review looked at, I do also do stuff on Fiverr. Everything's in the link down below. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching. But until next time, I've got to peace out and pass out. I'll see you in the next one.